Hello everyone. One of the most challenging roles I have ever had is when I get employed in a BPO company because of the high expectations from their business partners. Managing a BPO company is not easy by just answering the customer's issues and concerns. Leaders should not only well versed in managing their customer service representatives, but it also required high level of analytical skills and competencies. There are so many trainings and workshops about how to become a good leader. However, if the leader don't have enough technical skills and understanding, even the basics of analytics, then it will be difficult to address the problems facing by the company. It will result to mismanagement. In today's video, I will be discussing two of the most effective and the most powerful approaches in solving company problems as an aid in an effective formulation of business strategies. This is the data science process and the Six Sigma methods. Alright? I will illustrate these approaches to solve a BPO problems. But before that, let us first establish and define how BPO works and operates. BPO contracts and engagements involve outsourcing an entire functional area from human resources to technical areas to different vendors. Organizations or companies from different sectors often outsource specific processes within a functional area. For example, an organization may outsource its payroll processes, but perform all other HR processes itself. Organization may also outsource technical processes to different BPO company so that they can be able to focus on different offerings to their stakeholders. As a result of this engagement between the organization and BPO company, an organization shall provide metrics or key performance indicators to gauge and to assess the services provided by the BPO to them. For example, an organization may use the Net Promoter Score to assess and to gauge how the BPO partners are doing to help them with the outsourced functional area. Alright, so let's revisit how the business process or business use case should look like. Okay, so this is an example of a use case study. Okay, let's start by defining the business case. And it follows to problem statement, the goal statement, business case scope, the milestone, and the team's charter. For the business case, NPS is the key metrics for measuring the customer satisfaction and loyalty. This is a mirror of a BPO's performance and how they provide their services to their business partners. For the problem statement, over the past 3 consecutive months, the NPS percent of a customer service is less than 55 and is going down. For the goal statement, this is to improve the NPS percent score by 60 in the next few months. Let's say in the next 3 months or so. And of course, the business case scope. So, of course, this is the customer service business and the various teams or departments. And in the conduct of a use case study, there should be timelines, all right, or milestone. So there should be well-defined dates as to the definition of the problem, measuring, analyzing, improving, and controlling. And of course, the team's charter. So who will be the benefactor of this use case? Okay, so usually it depends upon the structure of the business. Let's say, for example, for a project, there are certain president, vice president, down to customer service agents. So it depends upon this organizational structure of a BPO company. All right? So to execute the business use case using the data science process, the study should start by understanding the business. At this point, we should clearly define the objective of the study and the goal that we want to achieve. The second step is to transform the objectives of the project into a scientific approach. At this point, we need to formulate a clear approach on how to fix or solve the problem. We say scientific because it involves a scientific or systematic plan in solving a problem. Once we are clear with the plan, we must identify and determine the necessary data needed to solve the problem. This requires thorough discussions with different teams within the organization to discuss the available data that each team is collecting or storing, and then inspect all the data available. Of course, to determine the relevance or to identify the correlation that exists in each of the data. And they can be able to set aside those data that are not related or has nothing to do with the metrics that we are trying to resolve. And then the data collection. So this is one of the most difficult parts in the data science process, because at first we are not sure if all the data that we need is available or not. Thus, there is a return process until we finalize the needed data. Once we collected all the available data and needed in the study, it is time to perform an exploratory data analysis. This is the first step of data understanding. In this step, we need to make sure that the data that we have is complete and enough to answer the problems postulated in the case study. If not, we must go back with the data collection to revisit all available resources. Using different tools, we can be able to speed up the process or the steps. It is not necessary to learn all of these tools because it has the same functions and usage. The good thing here is that we can be able to perform the data analysis faster than doing it manually. Alright? So data cleaning is very time consuming, but one of the most important part of data process. We must make sure that the data is correct, reliable, and valid. Once it was ready, we need to identify the correct and the appropriate modeling procedure or approach based on the type and characteristics of the data. We must consider the distribution of the data, the level of measurements or the scales of measurement, the type of the data, and many other considerations to delimit the choices of methods available, alright? So once we determine the correct method for modeling, there are still processes to consider and perform. We must subject the data if it follows assumptions required by the methods. If there are assumptions violated or have not been able to satisfy or meet, then model will have to produce bias and might be unreliable. So we need to make sure that assumptions are satisfied or meet. We will be getting questionable insight otherwise. Alright, so to satisfy the requirements, we must perform certain data transformation procedures and select the best procedure that will make the data ready and fit for analysis. Alright, so once performed data transformation and we still found out that assumptions are still violated, then we need to consider replacing the methods by a non-parametric test. On the other hand, if the data becomes fit for analysis after applying the data transformation procedure, then we can start building the model. We must test and evaluate that model before deployment. Alright? So after a couple of months or time, we must revisit the outcome of the model, if it's working or not, and if the problems were resolved. Alright? So this is the data science process. Okay, so make sure that during the deployment of the model, we need to apply action items dictated by the model. Alright? Again, during the deployment of the model, make sure that the action items are dictated by the model. If not, we will be getting biased results. Again, okay, so again and again, during the deployment of the action items, we need to follow the insights gained from the analysis. We need to apply, we need to implement action items dictated by the model. And then, let's provide feedback after a couple of months. This is for us to be able to observe the accuracy of the model. And once we are able to observe the model, let's say for example after a year or after 6 months but of weekly data or daily records, then we can start revisiting the objective. Alright, so that is the data science process. Alright, so going back to the business process, over the past 3 months, right? So over the past 3 months, a certain company noticed that the NPS score of their BPO partner is going down. And it was very alarming for them because this constitutes unproductive and ineffective partners. It will become, a waste of time and money to outsource certain functional area to that certain BPO company if there are problems that are not, being able to address or fix by BPO. So what they need to do is that they call out a closed door meeting to discuss the metrics, okay, to review the contract and their engagement, if they should need to, revoke the agreement or give the BPO enough time to prove its competencies or to review their business strategies. Okay? So to give more context of the business case study on improving an NPS, let us define what is all about NPS. NPS is a metric based from the survey to the customer who had an interaction with the company's representatives to gauge and to measure how satisfied the customer is with the service provided to them by the agent. This is a measure of satisfaction and loyalty of the customers. If the customer is happy and satisfied with the service that he or she received from the representative, then most likely he or she will provide good scores and positive feedback to the customer's service representative. Putting more context, Net Promoter Score or NPS is a metric of identifying the customer's feedback, whether it is detractors, passives, and promoters. And this can be obtained by sending a survey to the customers. This survey will ask the customer to answer this question: how likely will they recommend the company to their friends, relatives, and colleagues? Customers can just choose a score from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Alright, so I give you an example. Last year, November 2021, I encountered a problem with the monetization of my YouTube channel. And I keep on chatting the customer service representatives. However, I am not getting the correct answer. What the customer service representative is doing is that they keep on sending me the articles. They keep on sending me long paragraphs wherein I can just do it alone if I need to. But that is not the thing that I am expecting from the customer service representative. The reason why I am reaching the customer service representative is for me to be able to get the answers, for me to be able to know the problems that I am encountering with my YouTube channel. And I am not expecting the agent to send me the whole articles. Otherwise, I can just read the articles. Good thing is that I truly understand that it is not easy to become a customer service representative. So instead of answering the survey that they send me, I paused for a while and waited for some other months. And then again, I chatted another customer service representatives, and that agent was able to help me resolve the problem. And when that person was able to resolve my problem, that's the time I revisited the survey and I put a high score. So technically, I am not, aware, I am really blind of the previous customer service representatives I spoke with. My, my idea is that my problems was resolved, and so I provided a high score for that specific agent. Okay? So to some survey, there are additional questions about the reason why customers have chosen certain score. The goal of asking comments or feedback is to justify the score of the customer. These comments and feedback provides more insights than the score and is a good source of the company to formulate business strategies. So let's say, for example, a customer rated the customer service representative a score of 1. So there is a follow-up question asking the customer, why have you rated the agent a score of 1? Can you be more specific? What are you expecting from the customer? And so on and so forth. And this kind of comments or feedbacks, are more meaningful for me as a data analyst, because I can do more than quantitative analysis. I can also do a sentiment analysis in the near future, which is very helpful to the BPO. Alright? A score of 9 to 10 is basically the goal of every company to receive from the customers, because it means that the company is doing well. These are the promoter scores. A score of 1 to 6, on the other hand, is the score that the company should not be receiving from the customers. As much as possible, they wanted to make sure that they will not going to receive a score of 1 to 6, because these are considered as the detractor scores. And a score of 7 to 8 is considered passives or neutral. We don't need this score because it is somehow, it is not negative and it is also not positive score. So we don't care about a score of 7 to 8. So this is the formula of the NPS. The count of the promoters minus the count of the detractors divided by the total number of surveys sent to the customers. And this is an example how NPS is computed. Okay, promoters minus detractors divided by total number of respondents, and you will get 47%. Okay, so meaning to say, of the total of 470 surveys, 345 of the surveyed questions or the customers rated the customer service representatives 345, and a score of 125 is rated the customer by 125. All right. So how to improve the NPS from 47 to 60%? This is the goal of the company. And to get this done, the policymakers should revisit the model and include action items in the business strategies. Make sure that the business strategies are again dictated by the model. Otherwise, we will not be able to achieve the goal. Okay? So again, for the policymaker, make sure that the business strategies are the one dictated by the model. Otherwise, we will not be able to achieve the goal of the study. Alright, so this is how to improve the NPS score from 47 to 60. Alright, so this is very important. What should the Net Promoter Score be? Simple question, complex answer. Because NPS varies by industry, by region, or characteristics of the customers like age, income level, or time with your company. So to understand your Net Promoter Score, you must compare that score within your industry and against both direct and indirect competitors. Companies with scores higher than their competitive set grow faster and are more successful. Alright, so what is this trying to say? If we are going to compare a Net Promoter Score, it should be like apples to apples comparison. Okay? We cannot compare two companies. So even if there are two the same BPO company, do not compare your business to other business if it's not apple to apple. If your characteristics, if your customers are different, if the services you are offering is different, okay, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so for the department or specialty stores, the benchmark scores for NPS is at 58. If your company is like, tablet computers, the NPS score is at 47. But if your business is in the brokerage or investment, the NPS baseline is at 45. Okay? So there are different set of standards for different sectors, for different industries, for different businesses. Okay? So if your business partners are telling you that, hey, the other vendor is having this NPS score and your NPS score is very low, do not be afraid to tell the business partners, why are you comparing our score to other vendor? It is not, comparable. Why? Because we have different markets, we have different customers. It is not like apples to apples comparison. So it is not very scientific to compare us to other vendors. Alright, so in my next video, we will illustrate the Six Sigma methods of improving the Net Promoter Score, and we will be doing the actual modeling on how to improve the Net Promoter Score. Alright, so if you have some questions or comments about this video, all you need to do is to, raise it in the description or comment section of this video. Thank you, and have a great day.